Fantastic Thursday. Welcome back to the DeFranco Show, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing I want to talk about today is Donald Trump. A lot of people were making fun of Donald Trump yesterday because the New York Times posted this tweet saying Patriots turnout for President Obama in 2015 versus Patriots turnout for President Trump today. Oh, it's so embarrassing. Even one of my favorites, Stephen Colbert, made fun of Trump for this. But after Colbert had already filmed his show, the New England Patriots chimed in and said, what? These photos lack context. Facts, in 2015, over 40 football staff were on the stairs. In 2017, they were seated on the South Lawn, which appears to be why in the Obama picture you don't see anyone sitting, but in the 2017 picture you do. And the New England Patriots also shared this photo, saying, "Thanks Donald Trump and White House for the gracious hospitality today, honoring the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots." So after all of this, the New York Times issued a correction, also tweeting an update saying, Patriots say number of players was smaller this year than 2015, 34 versus 50, but total delegation was roughly the same. So there were fewer players, some couldn't make it, like Tom Brady said he had personal issues he had to attend to. Others had been outspoken that they would sit this out. And really, what should have been an easy win for the New York Times to say there were 14 less players that attended. Instead, they took a big unnecessary swing to try to embarrass the president over crowd sizes, and instead they looked like the fools. President Trump was also aware that this happened and tweeted, "Failing New York Times, which has been calling me wrong for 2 years, just got caught in a big lie concerning New England Patriots visit to White House." And as far as the New York Times further responds to this, a New York Times spokesperson provided a quote from sports editor Jason Stallman, which read, "Bad tweet by me, terrible tweet. I wish I could say it's complicated, but no, this one is pretty straightforward. I'm an idiot. It was my idea, it was my execution, it was my blunder. I made a decision in about 4 minutes that clearly warranted much more time." And while I do commend him for owning up to his mistakes, I think once again, whether it be mainstream or someone on YouTube, I understand we live in a 24/7 news cycle where everyone's trying to do something big as fast as possible, but it's always important, like this man said, he made this decision in 4 minutes. We all need to take a little more time before covering stories. It's like if you're a fighter, yes, you can win fights by swinging wildly and as fast as possible, but the only way to win long-term, maybe become the champ, hold on to that title, is to be technical, to feel out and know your opponent, to take your shots when you see an opening. If you just swing wildly, especially against an opponent that knows what they're doing, you're gonna get punch drunk and leave yourself vulnerable. And then a story that's connected to this, you probably heard this yesterday, but Aaron Hernandez, who used to play for the New England Patriots, killed himself. Well, actually, let's put an asterisk on that because it's believed that he killed himself. The news did come out yesterday that it appeared that Aaron Hernandez had committed suicide by hanging himself with a bedsheet. But there are also a lot of people saying the timing of this looks very suspicious. And that includes Hernandez's attorney, who has now launched an investigation on behalf of the family. And I do have to say, looking from the outside in, the timing does look very odd. You have a man who was just acquitted of a double murder, which many said would be fantastically helpful in his appeal for the other murder charge he was found guilty of. And so after he has potential hope, he kills himself? But now new information's coming out that might explain it. According to CBS in Boston, law enforcement sources said that they are looking into the possibility that the former New England Patriot may have smoked synthetic marijuana called K2 Tuesday night. And so that's interesting news because that is a seemingly very specific thing for the police to be probing. And if he did smoke K2, that might explain some of this. If you do not know, synthetic marijuana is a completely different beast than just regular marijuana. Synthetic marijuana is known to cause intense hallucinations and psychotic episodes. It is scary stuff. And sources also say, while it doesn't appear that there was any suicide note, he had John 3:16 written on his forehead. And for those of you who never had Bible study or ever wondered what the hell that was under Tim Tebow's eyes, John 3:16 reads, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life." So in this scenario, that could be seen as somewhat of a suicide note. Now, what some people have pointed out is that there were reports that there was blood on his wall. But since the sources corrected themselves saying that it was not blood, that's not what the red was. The red was from a marker which seems to have been the one used to write John 3:16. But with all of that said, we should know more soon. That said, there is an interesting side story here. Reportedly, in June of 2013, the Patriots withheld $3.25 million of Hernandez's signing bonus. They also refused to pay him his $2.5 million in his guaranteed base salary. New England cited the collective bargaining agreement as the reason for withholding the guaranteed money. So essentially, to oversimplify, because Hernandez had been found guilty on the gun charge and one murder, he breached his contract. Patriots said they're not going to give him that money. Well, here's a weird thing. Massachusetts has this very old legal principle called abatement ab initio. It means from the beginning. It essentially means that if a person has not exhausted all of their appeals, everything they can do legally, and they die, their case reverts back to the status at the beginning, before the trial, before the conviction. So that means that potentially, even though Hernandez was found guilty for murder, because he did not exhaust all his appeals in the state of Massachusetts, in the eyes of the government, he may technically be viewed as an innocent man, which then potentially has the legal fallout that the New England Patriots would have to honor the contract to the Hernandez family, who might then also be able to keep the money or not, because the family of the man that Hernandez had been found guilty of killing has a civil lawsuit against Hernandez. They're suing for millions, so if they win, that money could be theirs. But now at the civil trial, it's going to be a lot harder for them because they won't be able to point to the guilty verdict. The lawyer suing the Hernandez estate won't be able to say, look, he was found guilty for this. We know he's guilty because of this evidence. Open and shut case. They're going to have to do a lot more work, which of course, as you'd expect, now that people are looking at this legal set of dominoes that has fallen, people are going, well, was this part of the plan? And also there's this whole situation right now around Aaron Hernandez's brain being held by the medical examiner. But the family says that they want it so they can donate it to Boston University, who's doing a CTE study. And we had a lawyer at a press conference threatening legal action. This is one of the weirdest, craziest stories, and I don't know how it's gonna end. I mean, we're just gonna have to watch. But from there, I wanna share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome, brought to you by phil.ting.com. Ting, of course, is the fantastic pay which you actually use, no BS plans or fees cell service. It's simple, it's easy, it's the little things like when you call their customer service and a human being just picks up the phone. Although it is the money saved that's one of the best features. The average Ting customer for their one device spends $26 a month. So check it out, use the savings calculator, see how much you could be saving in the future. And in the first bit of awesome, I'm gonna be selfish, and he's not watching this show, but maybe one day in the future he's gonna go back. I'm no longer gonna be around, not because I'm dead, but because I've divorced my wife and now am with a woman too young for my son to comfortably call mom. Or because I have been killed because my wife didn't appreciate that joke. It's my son, my baby boy, Trey DeFranco. I love you. Happy 3rd birthday. May your life be filled with more rocket ships, steam engines, and mommy cuddles, your 3 favorite things. But also on a more real, non-jokey note, if you do ever see this, I love you more than I have ever loved anything. I hope I have equipped you in the future with opportunities and everything you can possibly need to make the world whatever it is that you want. Also, call us more. Your mother and I worry about you. Actually, speak of the devil, he's here. Trey, can you say hi?
Hi.
Okay, now say bye.
Hi. Bye. Bye.
Trey, how old are you gonna be?
12.
That's technically true. Then, in not as sappy awesome, we got a trailer for Marvel's Cloak and Dagger, and I am hopeful. I know the last Marvel series, Iron Fist, got beat down. While I'm personally not hating on it, I couldn't get into it. And sometimes they're not all winners, and when it comes to entertainment, I try to remain as positive and hopeful as possible. Then we got a new Hot Ones from the First We Feast channel. If you like food, you like interviews, you like seeing people that can't handle spicy food eating spicy food, it's a series just for you. And then we had Wired. I gotta say, whoever at Wired decided to come up with this series, fantastic job. They put out a video called Bill Nye Answers Science Questions from Twitter, and it's exactly that. They've done similar videos with Ken Jeong, Gordon Ramsay. I loved it. And if you want to see the full versions of everything, I just shared the secret link of the day. Anything at all. Links, as always, are in the description down below. Then, really quick, let's talk about the update in the Tomi Lahren versus the Blaze story. If this is the first time you're hearing about it, Tomi is a right-wing news host. She made some comments on a show called The View, where she said she actually is against the government stopping abortion. She said as a Republican, it would make her a hypocrite if she said she was actually for the government doing this. This got her in a lot of hot water with the network she worked for, as well as fans. Her network continued to pay her, but did not allow her to make her show or post it to Facebook. Tomi Lahren then sued The Blaze and Glenn Beck. They sued her right back. Reports were coming out in the past week that it looked like Tomi Lahren had an uphill battle. And then this week, Tomi Lahren got a victory. Reports came in that a Dallas County judge ordered Glenn Beck and The Blaze to let her post to her Facebook page. But she can't criticize Beck or The Blaze, and they can't insult her either. And yesterday, she posted her first video to the account since March 19th, and this has done nothing but good for her. After just 18 hours, her first video back on Facebook has over 5.6 million views. And this also helps Tomi in the long run, because while people are there now and they're massively supportive, even though Tomi Lahren has a pretty decent presence on all the other social networks, Facebook is by far her largest. And if you remove someone from their core audience for a very long time, I mean, her contract was reportedly not up until September. I mean, there's the question of if she lost access to Facebook, if she had to wait till September and had to go launch somewhere else, how much of her audience would still be there? Because people have die-hard audiences, but also time makes people forget. And I'm also just fascinated to see what the fallout from all of this is, because it feels very much like you had a married couple that got divorced and then now they have to live with each other until September and not say a negative thing about the other person. Oh my God, yes, forget Big Brother. Make that a reality show. This is just wild to witness. Then in other conservative host news, Bill O'Reilly went from under fire to on a planned vacation to now fired. And this had kind of been expected. When you looked at Fox News, it looked like they were trying to see how the public was going to react, how everything was going to really go down. Because you had the news stories come out that Bill O'Reilly and Fox News had to settle for $13 million for harassment claims. And advertiser after advertiser started pulling their ads from the O'Reilly factor. And now Tucker Carlson is taking his spot. Now, for those of you out there that do not like Bill O'Reilly, you are cheering this on. Don't cheer too much. Reports are coming out that according to sources, while he is fired, it's believed that Bill O'Reilly is getting a massive 8-figure payout for leaving thanks to a contract he signed before all of this happened. And while we don't know the specific numbers, according to two sources that spoke independently, they said Bill's latest contract was was worth around $25 million a year, so we have no idea what his payout is. But hearing that, it wouldn't be surprising that it would be massive. And then the last thing I want to mention very briefly, I had a ton of people messaging me about this morning. People were messaging me that Mike Martin of Daddy of 5 was trying to raise money to sue me over the videos where I talked about his videos this week. They linked me to a GoFundMe. It says, Philip DeFranco's false claims. He's been spreading lies about us and putting our family through hell. We are also considering taking Franco to court for all the pain and suffering and money he's causing us to lose. Now, before you get your pitchforks, everything I've seen from this, it does not seem to be real. I mean, the page was created, and on the page it says it was created by Mike Martin, but it wasn't linked to a real Facebook page. I haven't seen it promoted on any of their social media. That GoFundMe was also later deleted. Also, Mike Martin posted on his Twitter, I'm sorry everyone, but I have taken down / demonetized all videos. My family's safety is more important than fake videos. Now, some people said he did this so people would stop sharing the videos and he would calm down the outrage. While others said what they were trying to do is actually hide the videos, which could be used as evidence. But on that note, before all the videos were made private, several people went through their entire archive and downloaded everything. So myself and several others have access to every single video that was up. But the main point as far as the GoFundMe and the legal stuff, at this point, I have no reason to believe that it is real. And of course, the last thing I would want would be people sharing fake news. It's just getting people riled up. And I 100% stand by my reporting this week. Now, a note I do want to hit. If you share or you shared the story because you care about the kids, the main goal in your head is you want safe kids. Great, fantastic. I feel like this is redundant for most of my audience, but I know that I've been hitting a larger audience this week. Anyone else? Please do not send death threats to people over this story. It's one thing to be disgusted by what you see and comment on it, and a whole other to call for or say that you are going to inflict physical violence onto another. I in no way endorse those actions. If you see someone doing them, ask them to stop, because before any and all actions, the questions around this story should be, how could this help the kids? And that's what this has always been about, trying to provide some real world good, maximizing the real world impact we can have with this crazy experiment that is the Philip DeFranco Show. And that's where I'm gonna end today's show with a thank you for being a part of this. And remember, if you liked this video, you like what I try and do on this channel, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Also, if you missed and want to catch up on yesterday's Philip DeFranco Show, you can click or tap right there to watch that. Or if you want to see the latest and greatest behind the scenes vlog, you can click or tap right there. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you, sadly, not tomorrow, but I'll see you Monday. Don't forget me. I'm so stupid.